everybody to JOLT. That's just one little thing that we cover each week with a different entrepreneur who will talk to us about one thing that they learned in this journey of entrepreneurship that they will impart to the rest of us. So today we have with us a couple of people. You've seen me before. You've seen Max. Max, did you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. Max Drew. This is my second time on Joel. I'm super excited about it, and thank you for tuning in.
Yep, Max is our co-host here at the Rec Innovation Lab, and then our guest today is Rupak. Rupak, I love what you've been doing. Will you tell us a little bit about yourself and about your startup?
Of course. Hey guys, thank you so much for having me here. So I'm the CEO of a startup called Omnisync, which is in San Diego. And our mission is to increase access for all federal grants and contracts to all kinds of applicants. More so, we target small businesses and startups for whom access to this sort of money has kind of always been very, very difficult to come by. So we're democratizing that piece of the federal grants and contract space.
And that's what I love about what you do. And that's why we're so happy to be working with you. Absolutely been difficult for startups, difficult for early stage ventures to get access to funding. And this is pretty innovative, right? It hasn't really been done before.
We are the first in the market, at least in the way we're doing it. We use software, and we kind of say that we're kind of like the first TurboTax of this world. It's how the first time the TurboTax came into the tax prep world, and everyone was like, wait, now I don't need a CPA. I can really do my own taxes. Really? Right? That's kind of the kind of feedback we get from entrepreneurs when they're like, really, I can do my own grant. I don't need a grant consultant or a writer. Really? And so it is both, the boon and the bane, where everyone's so excited when you're new, but also you've got to break down certain barriers that have some preconceived, notions about stuff.
Sure. It's always difficult when you have to educate people about what it is that you're doing. And I feel the same way. When you told me about what you were doing, I was shocked. Is this going to work? Are you sure? But at the Rec, we've been working with Omnisync for, it's been, maybe close to either over 6 months. So from the very beginning. Yeah. So I'm maybe even close to a year, but we love what you've been doing. So tell us, what one little thing have you learned along this journey of entrepreneurship that you wish you would have known at the beginning?
So I would say I would have loved to know that you really can't have regrets. There's no place for it. Once you decide that you really want to get into entrepreneurship and when you're in it, doing it, there's really no place for looking back and thinking, oh man, did I make a mistake here? Am I doing the wrong thing or whatever? Because there's no time to do that, and that takes you away from your mission, your goal, where you have to execute really rapidly on a number of different things. That'll just deviate your attention, which isn't really efficient for your startup. So if the one thing I'd always advise entrepreneurs is take as much time as you need to think about whether this is what you want to do. Take as much, go off on a holiday, take the 6-month break, do something else, go into a job, do anything and everything possible to delay as much as you want before you start. But the day you start, that day one of the company, you leave all your regrets behind and you execute day one, and then you don't look back anymore. I would have loved that because that's when in the first few months I was starting to question things, and then that's when Norman, my co-founder, and I had this chat, and he's like, you know what, this is never going to work if we keep second guessing our decision.
Yeah. So I love that advice. I think I haven't heard that from anyone else before, but you're right. I mean, you're absolutely right. And the reason why you have to take so long, beyond just not regretting it after the fact, but I think that it's so important too to understand that you're going to be in this all the time. It's going to be your life. It's going to take over. And if you're not prepared for that, or this isn't something that you want to spend your life doing, run away, do something else. Don't do it. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, it's always good to dip your toes, into it by doing something like an advisory position for another startup, or just becoming, maybe if you're a really experienced person in your field, become a mentor in one of the incubators or something like that. But dip your toes, read about stuff, look at videos, look at other startups doing stuff. So it's do your research, do your homework, but then be prepared day one that then don't get into it having those sorts of second guesses in your mind. It's never going to work out, and you'll ruin your mental health.
Yeah,
you don't want to do that.
Agreed. So, Max, I'd love to get some input from you. Is this anything shocking in there as a brand new entrepreneur? Is this what you were thinking, or I mean,
Yeah,
did you
no,
realize how
no,
much work it would be?
that's excellent advice. I was gonna say overall, I'm super interested in grant writing. I think it's kind of I can kind of compare it to being in high school and looking for scholarship money in the sense of like, it's there's so much money to be had out there, and no one really knows about it in the sense. So I was thinking from your perspective, you have a lot more experience than me, obviously. Working with all these different small businesses and startups. What would you tell maybe a young broke college student like me who's thinking they have a cool idea or they want to get into business, but they just don't have the money or they don't have the funds, and they're like, I mean, who's going to give me just my measly idea? What would you tell them?
Yeah, so don't expect someone to give you your first pot of money straight off the bat. That's not going to happen. That doesn't usually happen, because anyone who believes in your idea is going to believe it if you believe in it really, really strongly. And if you believe in it really strongly, you will find a way to put in some amount of cash to get you to a certain milestone where it shows that you've believed in it enough, that you've invested yourself into your business or your idea to get it to the point where you can show somebody else that this is worth anybody else's time, right?
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
just for an idea, nobody's almost, I mean, yes, it does happen rarely, but almost nobody is going to fund an idea.
So
That doesn't
I
happen.
agreed there. I have to say, we have a saying in entrepreneurship that the only funds that you can get at idea stage are from the 3 F's, which is friends, family, and fools. So you're not going to get money from anybody else until you can actually prove your assumptions. Agreed. Great advice. So anything else you want to leave us with? I'll let you take us out, Rupak. Last little word to leave the audience with.
No, I mean, I would say that, I mean, I do paint a picture where you've got to be really careful about being an entrepreneurship, but believe me, once you've made that decision and once you get it, there is nothing out there that'll give you more satisfaction and fulfillment, as like, other than like, running your own company, basically seeing what you've built in action, in people's hands, benefiting people in a big way. That feeling is beyond comparison to anything else that you'll ever feel. And that kind of impact that you can make on your company, you cannot make by just being an employee somewhere, unless you spend a lot of time and get really high up in the ranks where you control an entire department or something like that. And even then, there's not much that you can normally do with a bunch of control, like you can as an early stage startup founder. Yeah. So if that's what you like, that you're in for a great ride. Yes, it comes with all its hassles or whatever, but the reward, it outweighs everything else.
Oh, agreed. I agree 100%. And nothing like this feeling. And really right now is the time to do it. It's easier than ever. There are resources out there that make it possible for anyone to start a company for not a whole heck of a lot. And, at the Rec, reach out to us. We're happy to help you here. So thank you, Rupak. Thank you, Max. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today at JOLT. We will see you again soon for the next JOLT. Have a good one, everyone. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rupak.